the way to start your Saturday projects every week. It's Rick's House, home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program today. It's beautiful. Absolutely. Hey, Melissa White, good to see you there in there this morning. Just going to do a little sound check here and make sure that everything's coming across. There it is. All right. Good stuff on the program. Beautiful day outside today. Absolutely gorgeous. And I think it's supposed to be pretty both days. And hopefully I'm going to try for my bride and I to get to some water this weekend. We're hoping to do that as well. Good morning to y'all out there in radio land, as they say on the thing. We'd love to hear from you this morning. You can reach us at 865-577-4885. 865-577-4885. That's how you get us online. You can also text us on the Rick's House text line at 865-255-3911 here in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios of your Praise 96.3. We're so excited, and I know that y'all been sending some of this stuff on the media, on our social media pages, but I just got to tell you, and I know we're running the commercials. I heard it this morning as I was coming into work, but we are having September the 7th. We'll be live at Weekend RV Center. Jason, good to see you this morning, brother. Fellow rodeo cowboy of my son's friends. They did a lot of rodeo across this country back in the day. So it's good to see you, son. Weekend RV Center, September the 7th, is having a super special event and having the annual end of the summer. Get ready for the fall sales event. All new and pre-owned campers are on sale. Here's your chance to save thousands off the MSRP. There's cash and gift card giveaways every hour from 10 to 1. No purchase necessary to win, and you do not have to own a camper to win. But you should come and buy a camper while we're there making it happen. We'll be doing our show live in the morning, and Pete Sanders is going to be there from Sanders Plumbing. Going to have a truck there and some plumbers to talk to you as well. And I think even Miss Vicky is going to have some plants. She is a phenomenal cook and also a gardener, and so she grows, basil and oregano and cilantro and all those stuff. And I think she's going to have some fall flowers there as well too. So y'all need to come out there and check that out. Plus, we'll have free coffee and donuts till 10. I've got stuff coming from Baker Boy Pizza for you guys.
Wings
giveaway. Wings. Vance says he needs wings. So I got stuff coming from them and some other places as well. And then we're going to have a classic cars, Jeep, muscle car, truck, motorcycles welcome for our cruise in. I want to have a cruise in, and we're open till 3. We'll be there till 3 o'clock. Food truck's going to be there till 1.
Yeah,
so you'll be able to get lunch as well. And also,
they've got wings.
I bet they do too. We're having awards and prizes for the oldest car, the oldest truck, the longest distance award, and people's favorite. And so this is going to be a phenomenal event. So if everything that they've got on the lot is marked down. Whether it's a used camper, whether it's a used RV, whether it's brand spanking new, and if you just want to come out, this will be a great time to come out. And if you're thinking about that project, getting that place to get away, traveling in your own dirt, as we say, you'll be able to do that. And of course, Josh and Tyler and X and Mike and the whole team, Kenny, there at Weekend Cassidy at Weekend RV, man, just come on in. And if you need parts and pieces, they got a great little store in there. I mean, they've got the things you need, all kinds of stuff. What are you laughing about, Lance?
Parts and pieces. I don't know. That just
it just funny. Tickled you, didn't it?
It did.
And I don't know. Do you feel a little tinge of fall in there? Just a little bit, maybe?
Well, my allergies do.
Well, mine do too. I don't know. I've been snorting and coughing and hacking and huffing and puffing. Started yesterday. I don't know. I heard on the news that it was starting with ragweed was up on the deal.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but I apologize in advance for all the huffing and puffing this morning. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm sure we'll hear from some of our loyal listeners, but we also want to hear from you. If you've got that project that you're thinking about, it's okay to call. It's okay. I promise you. Somebody else, if you got a question on your mind that you're thinking about, it's okay. Brian says, good day to the Rickster and Vance. Good morning, Brian. Good to see you.
Good morning, Brian.
But the thing about it is, if you've got a question, I guarantee you somebody else has got that same question. It's just which one of you is going to call and ask it first.
And somebody has the answer.
Somebody does.
If we don't,
somebody will.
That's right.
Outstanding. That's the way we do it. And then also we want to say good morning to our friends over at Costa Oil over there this morning.
Good people over
good
there.
folks over there to do a great job. And because of that, I want to talk a little bit today. We're going to talk a little bit, and I'm not a mechanical guy. I can build your house. I can remodel your kitchen. Well, I could before I got old and decrepit. But I know all about that kind of stuff. But cars is not my thing, so I have to rely on those that do. And what I do know is since I've started using Costa Oil for my oil changes and fluids and all that kind of stuff, my gas mileages went up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I like their products. It's they're just good folks, and they check everything. I had a little rattle underneath the car that was driving me crazy, and it was a loose heat shield, and they just tightened it back up for me.
Wow.
That's
that's cool.
It's good stuff on the program, so I'm excited about that. But we're going to talk about oil today a little bit. I did a little research on that because I wanted to know. Everybody tells you, well, you can run it this long, you run it that long. You can, how often do you change that kind of stuff? And we're going to get them in here one of these days, but they've been so busy that they hadn't been able to break free. And they're hiring some folks because their business is growing. And so we're excited about that. And, I went by and got me a pizza over at Baker Boys last week.
Uh-oh.
Sausage, pepperoni, and mushroom.
You lost me at mushroom.
Man, oh, man. Took me a week to eat it.
Got a huge pizza.
Yeah, it did. It took me a week. I ain't kidding you.
Wow.
And that's was giving a couple slices away. A slice of pizza over there feed 10 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I
believe it.
It's something else. I tell you what's the truth, but I look forward to that each and every Saturday. And it is, they've spoiled me because I make my wife a gluten-free pizza. And she said, you want a piece of this? I said, nope. She said, why? She said, you made it and it's delicious. I said, I know it's delicious, but I'm spoiled.
Yeah. Got to have my gluten.
I got to have, if it ain't Baker Boy, I ain't eating it. I ain't eating pizza nowhere else.
There you go.
It ain't gonna happen. That's just the way it is. So like I said, they have spoiled me terribly. And then we're going to see also for the big event coming up on the 7th of September, we're also going to see if we can get some of our other sponsors out there. Brian says, don't forget the olives. I do like black olives on my pizza. You like black olives, Vance?
I do not.
For some reason, I knew that. You're not a veggie kind of guy, are you?
Oh, no. Not at all. Well, I'll eat a French fry.
I was in a cooking mood yesterday. So I made meatloaf, pinto beans, mashed potatoes, and then I made some seasoned collard greens. And now this was new. First time I ever tried it. It was delicious. You gonna be okay in there behind the glass?
So just quit saying collard greens, please.
So I had some seasoned collard greens.
You ain't right.
Man, if you don't like collard greens, I'm telling you, those are delicious. If you ever lived in the deep South, and man, I can make a whole meal on collard greens.
Thank God I was raised in Knoxville.
I was raised in Knoxville, but when I went deep South and got to eating them collard greens,
yeah,
and tomato gravy, You ever eat tomato gravy?
No, I have not. I have heard of it. I might have even seen it once, but no, I didn't try it.
Oh man, tomato gravy on a fresh hot lard biscuit. Come on. If you put that on top of your head, your tongue will beat your eyes out trying to get to it.
Maybe with the meatloaf.
Oh, you know what I do with my meatloaf?
Eat it.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't use ketchup on my meatloaf.
No.
I make a homemade Heinz 57 style sauce for my meatloaf.
There you go.
Mustard and ketchup, a little Worcestershire.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say.
However you say that.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, it's good. I'm telling you. So we want y'all to come out. Glad to see X in there this morning. We appreciate you listening to us this morning for the big event at the Weekend RV Center on September the 7th. Goodbye Summer, Hello Fall is the name of that event, and it's going to be a blowout sale. It's going to be great. I am so excited because you'll be able to see all of us in one place. Come out and see that Pete Sanders is bringing his Nova. Boy, he's got a Nova. I'm telling you what's the truth. That is
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah. Oh man, it's a beautiful, beautiful car. He searched and searched and searched. He had one in high school.
Ah, okay.
And he finally found one like it. And it is really something to see. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. He's got
what model is it?
You know, I don't remember. It's a 70 something, but I don't remember what model it is. We'll have to get Pete to answer that for us. I want to say 77, but maybe 72. I don't know. It's in that range when,
There's only 5 years difference. Maybe a body style or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's little differences, but they kind of. I see you grinning behind the glass.
Okay, I quit.
But absolutely, it is it's a beautiful car, and X has got a couple hot rods that we're gonna have. It's gonna be fun.
Brian said he's going to drive out here in his.
Yeah, he said he was going to bring. He's got a couple different hot rods,
Uh-huh.
and
I really like that Pacer he's got.
Is a Pacer the ugliest car ever built?
No, that'd be a K car.
Oh yeah, K car. I forgot. Well, they's tough though.
Yeah, they were tough.
K car
they
was
had
tough.
to be.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You know the two cars that I never thought would be, and I'm not a car guy. I am a car guy, but not a car guy. I had a 55 Chevrolet 2-door post Bel Air.
Can't be much of a car guy. You drive a Prius.
It gets 50 miles a gallon, baby.
The sticker on the back of that thing says, "Who's laughing now?"
Yeah, and Amy put that Daisy flower license plate on the front of it, so we're driving Miss Daisy. This is what we call it. My buddy Troy, he names all his cars. He's got Betty White. He's got Cornelius. He's got Matilda, and several different ones that he names them all. Do you name your cars?
No,
he does.
I had one. I named one car. Called it Lemon.
Good morning, Shannon. Good to see you, girl. Glad to see you, Miss Spider, in there this morning listening to us. Hope you're doing well. And but like I said, big event. Goodbye summer, hello fall, blowout sale over at Weekend RV Center, September the 7th. We're going to be live. It's going to be awesome. Brian just answered the question. I said, what are the two cars that you never thought would be popular?
Oh, yeah.
And he answered one of them. Good morning, Ron. One of them's a Pinto.
Yeah. And the Vega.
Yeah, Pinto and Vega. Those are rare.
Yeah, they are for a reason.
You know what the other one is that's people want in the hot rod world?
What's that?
Gremlin.
Yes, Gremlin.
You remember the Gremlin?
Oh yeah.
I had a buddy in high school, and his brother had a Gremlin that he was doing. He was redoing it. He tore the whole interior out. And I'll never forget, he come to pick us up from football practice because I was going back to my buddy's house to spend the night in high school. And I swear to you, this is the truth. I promise. This is the gospel, so to speak. He pulled up, and it was purple. Had a purple Gremlin. I mean, I'm talking about purple. Not lavender, but purple. And he pulled up, and we went out there, and he said, "Get in." I said, "Where are we sitting?" He said, "On the floor." He was sitting on a 5-gallon bucket. This is a true story. He was sitting on a 5-gallon bucket, had a pair of vice grips on the shifter for the transmission, and off we went in that purple Gremlin back home.
Wow.
That's back in the days when you could ride in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah.
You know, drink out of a garden hose.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived to tell the story. So yeah, that's that's good stuff on the program. But yeah, we want to have that event. We're so excited. We'll be there live in the cruise in. Food trucks, free coffee, donuts. It's going to be a great time. Vance will be out after he gets off the air, and y'all can meet Vance and meet X and Tyler and Josh and Kenny and Mike and Cassidy and the whole team out there. It's going to be great. But you can also get a great deal on that RV you're looking for, or that travel trailer, or that used RV, or that new one, whatever you're looking for. If you need parts and pieces, like I broke the hinge on the screen door on the travel trailer. Just, I guess all the use were dragging it all over the country. And I called X and he said, I got you one coming. It's a special kind of hinge. So he got that done for us. And so, you know, if you need those parts and pieces, you need service, you need those things, they can take care of you. It's important what they do. You can reach us on the phone lines today. We want to hear from you. We want to see what's going on in your world. If you got questions, call in line 865-577-4885, or you can text us on the Rick's House texting line at 865-255-3911. Going to reach out to Top Septic and August Excavation, see if we can get them there as well. So we'll have a team of folks for y'all to meet, some of the sponsors that allows us to do this show each and every week, and find out who you can use. I was talking yesterday about how business is done today. It's different. But that's why we search the cabins, search the sponsors for, like, our Cozy Mountain Cabins. We went up there this past weekend, had a great time up with Anita at Cozy Mountain Cabins. Man, if you're looking for a cabin that sleeps 20 or a cabin that sleeps 1, my buddy called me from Alabama the day before yesterday and said, hey, we're coming up in September. Does Anita got anything? I called her, said, how many of you are they? 7. She got them covered. So they'll come up and have a great experience with their family as they come from different parts of the world. And you can do the same. You can do the same thing there. It is a great opportunity. We highly recommend them. CozyMountainCabins.com, or call Anita directly at 865-660-0340 to find out how your next vacation can be an awesome vacation. We're excited about that. So we want you to have that fun and go. And we went, and Amy was talking about, we went into the Cozy Mountain Cabin. We stayed at a little tiny house, and it was absolutely spotless. You could eat off the floor. That's how I like to travel, you know, and so we can highly recommend them to you. And then also, if you want to take your house with you, Weekend RV Center can do that for you too. So good stuff on the program. Lots of things to talk about today. You know, as I think about different things, I'm always looking. I get so many emails, and I'm always looking for that opportunity to find a tip, find something that gives you guys information that you need, or helps you to make your life easier and do certain things. We wanted to revitalize the black tank in our RV. And that's something that you got to do on occasion. And it's something that's necessary. And so one of the products that I've been using is called Unique. And so we utilized that product this past week. And what it does is it cleans the RV black tank and rejuvenates it and cleans the sensors in there so you can tell what you got and make sure that it's working the way that it should be working. And then Amy come up with something. There's a group of ladies who have come up with a homemade RV black tank treatment. And she ordered the stuff, and we're going to try it out. And if it works, we'll be telling you about that next week. You know, keeping those that tank clean and functioning properly is important, especially in the hot heat, and also in the wintertime too. You know, it's constant maintenance. That's one of the things that you have to do. And so we'll be sharing that with you as well as we go through that. We've talked a little bit about humidity in RVs. That is something that you have to battle from day in. I mean, it's just part of it. Think about it. You're in a metal box that's going to get hot and cold, and you're trying to keep that humidity down. And so, there's several things you have to do, and getting ready to add a dehumidifier into ours to help. We use Damp Rid. We also use charcoal. You can put charcoal in your RV and just put it out in a bucket, and it will draw moisture out of that RV and help keep it comfortable. That's what I'm about when I'm traveling or when I'm living. I want it to be comfortable, and to do that, you got to find out what works for you and how it works, and we want to share those things with you as well. Like I said, just like when we go to Anita's Cozy Mountain Cabins up there and find one of those fantastic cabins, it's awesome, and stay in it. And she's got all kinds. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. So give her a call today, 865-660-0340, and she'll fix you up just like we told you about. And I promise you'll have an awesome stay. Kids will love it. You and Dad can get away for a little bit and enjoy the beautiful mountains of East Tennessee and the Great Smoky Mountains, whether it's over in Cosby or over in Gatlinburg at the Arts and Crafts or in the Pigeon Forge or wherever you want to go. She's got a cabin for you over there. So that's good stuff. Who's on the phone for us, Vance?
We've got Brian on the phone.
Well, let's take a time out, and then we'll go to Brian. Let's get that first time out of the way for the listening to those folks that bring us this program. I apologize in advance for being congested this morning. So we'll work through that as the ragweed is whooping my behind.
Yeah, yours and mine both.
I'm telling you,
I feel like I'm losing my voice.
Oh, my good gracious. I have coughed and hacked all morning. When we come back, we're going to jump on the phone with Brian, see what he's talking about this morning. And we want to jump on the phone with you. Give us a call this morning, 865-577-4885, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. It's Rick's house. Hang on, we'll be right back.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knox Trail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxtrailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Hello, this is Pete with Sanders Plumbing Company. We've been your local trusted plumber since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing. Quality service for quality people. Call 922-9175.
Got a question? Rick's got the answers for all your home improvement questions. It's Rick's House. Home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios of Praise 96.3, your Praise 96.3. And good morning to you. And before we go to the phone lines, I wanted to share with you, if you've been to the Rick's House Facebook page or the Rick Allen Facebook page, we have shared, my beautiful wife has put together something she started some time ago, and she finally published it yesterday, and she's opened a new Facebook page. It's called The Diary of a Grieving Mama. And it's a page for those of you who have lost children or lost a loved one or lost somebody, and you need a safe place to talk about it, hear from other people that have had that horrible experience. And it's a place where you can vent, you can give advice, but most of all, you can get encouragement and uplifting and get prayers from other folks who are going through that thing. Us having lost 2 children, and many of our friends that we have went to school with who've recently lost kids, it's or other loved ones, it's there. And I would encourage you to go and become part of that page. And my wife does a great job with it. And it's just that place that you can go and be part of a group that you don't want to be in, but you are.
No, that sounds great.
Yeah, it is. It's she's got some really good insights, and God laid it on her heart to put it up, and so she did, and so it's awesome. It's
Now, what's the page again?
It's called The Diary of a Grieving Mama.
Okay.
And it's, if you go to the Rick's House page, you'll find it there. I posted it. Let me make sure I'm saying that exactly right, because I don't want to. The Diary of a Grieving Mama, M-A-M-A. And so she put it up yesterday. She's already got 144 members in there. So
wow.
So it's growing. Like I said, it's a place where, you know, if you've lost children or your loved ones, we hope you'll feel safe here to share, vent, or give advice, and so become part of that community that you're in already. And not and certainly don't want to be in, but you're there, and so we hope that can be a blessing, and let you guys know that you're not alone on that journey. There are other people there that are going through the same thing, and each of us, grief is something that everybody does differently. There's 7 stages of grief. But everybody grieves a little bit differently, and you go through the process a little bit differently. And so,
definitely,
you know, it's just a great place where you can find out if you got something and you just want to vent, or you got something that you want to talk about, or you got, you know, something on your mind that you want to get out there, or you just want to say, hey, I'm struggling with this, and you know, this is something that, you know, somebody who's already struggled with that particular thing, or has an advice of how they got through it, or live in it. There's not getting through it. There's living in it, I guess is a better way to put that. We certainly don't have all the answers, but we hope that it's a place that you can find comfort and be part of that group, and know that you're not the only one that's experiencing that. And so I just want to recommend it this morning, and I pray that you would jump on the boat and find out there's other folks out there who are hurting like you are. And so it's there for you. Let's go to the phone lines. Bring Brian on, Vance, and let's see what he's doing this morning. What's going on? It's very early in Seattle, Washington. Lacey, Washington this morning.
Hey, good morning, Rickster.
Morning.
I shot you over some information, I think yesterday or day before, on 1997 Fleetwood Toga.
Yep, good. It's a good RV.
Yeah, and it's got 24,000 miles on it with a 467.5 liter, which is a Ford motor.
Yep.
So my question to you, being a 1997, and you saw the price that I sent that over to you, I did reach out to this gentleman and asked him the famous question, how's the septic tank? When was this black water drained, and how does that look? He didn't get back with me for 2 days, and then said, wow, that vehicle's in storage. I have to pull it out and check and see what what could be the problem. And that just seems to be the buzzword dealing with these guys that are selling these motorhomes, in 1997, 24,000 miles on them. they're the second owner, et cetera, et cetera. So what other questions do I need to ask this gentleman going forward? Because I'm willing to show up where that motorhome is at on Sunday morning to take it for a ride and see what's going on. My question to you is a couple of them. One is, this is not a diesel Ford. This is a 5.7 liter Ford gas motor with a 2,400 or 24,000 miles on it, and it's a 1997. What things do I need to watch out for?
Well, it's a great question, and here's the way that I think about it, and I did take a look at it. From the pictures, it looks like it's been taken care of. That's the first thing I look at. The second thing is, with 24,000 on it, it's been used, so it's got some miles on it. So that makes me think that, it's had some kind of maintenance. I would want to see the maintenance records. I'd want to know how often he changed oil. What kind of, is he running full synthetic? Is he running a blend? Is he running just standard oil? How often is he changing the oil? All those same kind of questions that you as a car guy would ask about the motor and related things. The other thing is if you are, once you drive it, you'll be able to tell. That Fleetwood Tioga is a nice size, and it's probably around 30 foot, isn't it, Brian? I would say it looks to be 30, 32 feet, something like that. That seems to be what size those Class C's are for that. And I know that the Pneumatic Fanatic, he drove one for a long time, and I've known other people that have had them and liked the unit itself. But the other thing is if you buy, and here's the difference between diesel and gas, in my opinion. The diesel engine is going to run forever as long as it's maintained. But when something tears up, you start at 5,000. So,
right.
That's you get the benefit of the power. If you're pulling something behind you, you're pulling a trailer, you're doing those things, you get the benefit of the gas mileage. You get the benefit of it, the generator running off the diesel too. And all those things are benefits. But when something tears up, you got to be ready to spend the money. It's kind of like a hot rod. If you're going to get the performance you want, but you're going to have to make sure that it's maintained. And when you have to change something, then it's going to be more expensive. I mean, even with an oil change, when you think about an oil change in the diesel, you think, well, I can change the oil in my car for all synthetics for $70, $80. But when you talk about changing oil in a diesel, you're talking about $200 or $250, just because of the simple nature of how much it costs. Now, the difference is in fuel. You think about that motorhome's probably going to get somewhere between 6 to 8 miles to the gallon. When we were on the road, we had a Chevrolet 4-door, 4-wheel drive, 1,500 heavy half-ton truck. And then I took that truck and I put airbags on the back of it for the suspension, so I could put stuff in the bed of the truck that I wanted to carry with us, extra water and things like that. And so I did that. But the best I ever got anywhere when I was out on the interstate on a flat road out in Arizona somewhere, was 8 miles to the gallon. Most of the time I was getting 5 to 8 miles to the gallon. When you start figuring that up, it gets pretty expensive when gas is $4 a gallon.
Yeah, that's very true. I take out my GTO that has a 10-gallon gas tank, and I've got to swing back into the gas station because I just burnt through 4 gallons in 25 minutes. You know what I mean?
I do. Absolutely. So, then you put that together and you start thinking about, I'm going to save money on fuel, and I'm going to save money, and I'm going to have the convenience of, am I going to go through mountainous areas? I know that our truck was pushed to the limit, and it had a 6.0 in it. What they call oh shoot, I can't remember the name of it, but it had a heavy duty motor. It was a half ton, but it was a heavy half ton, more like a 3/4 ton, and it was a house of a vehicle. But there again, I had it kind of pushed to its max, to tell you the truth. And when we got out west and we got in Colorado and in the mountains, it struggled. It was really hard on the vehicle. Now, if I had stayed, in flatlands, it was fine. It done a great job, and it even did okay, in the mountains. But it struggled. So if I had to do it over again, if I was going to go back on the road, I would have went diesel. I would have.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And it makes total sense at all. What you're saying, and looking at this vehicle and talking to the gentleman, I threw him a curveball when I started talking about Blackwater, your septic tank. How many times was that checked? And that going forward, his reply was, "Oh my, wow, I got to go back to storage, and I guess I got to look into that." So there's my red flag.
That concerns me, because if you're not looking, if you can't answer that question, that means you're not concerned about it, and you don't know that how important it is. And for us, we went through, and I don't think I've ever shared this with you, but we were out in Oregon, which and we were out there in the Alvord Desert for 11 months. And we experienced everything from 100 degrees to -8, 45 to 90 mile per hour winds, sandstorms. I mean, we really put our travel trailer through, and it performed very well. I was very pleased. But when all that happened, you got something that's moving. And so as it's moving, it's flexing and bending and all those kinds of things, which it's designed to do that, but still it doesn't matter. You're going to have those issues. One of the things I learned pretty quickly was not to, how do you determine I need water? I'm going to boondock. I got to know I can get water here. But when I put 40 gallons of water in my tank, so that I have water when I stop the boondock, I just put 400 pounds in my trailer, which has to be factored in. So now my gas mileage just went down, so right. There's those kinds of things that you learn that when you're on the road, and then you've been boondocking for, a week, and you got to find a place to dump that black sewage, out of the black tank, because, you're carrying another 400 or 500 pounds. So all of a sudden, just in water and black tank and gray tank, now we're talking about 1,000 pounds that you're toting around that's killing your gas mileage. Does that make sense? We had a situation where I did not realize, but just over time from the movement, we got a hole on the way home coming from California. And as long as we were running off of our tank and running off our pump system, we didn't have any problems. But when I got back, and got in a campground and hooked up my city water into my tank. When I hooked up the city water, all of a sudden the bedroom floor was wet and water coming out from under the wall. And I'm like, holy moly, what's going on? And so I went to the front of the RV or the travel trailer where it's got a storage compartment that holds the water heater, and it's soaking wet. Take it loose from the city water, from the pressurized line, go back on, fill the tank up and use it, no problem. So come to find out, I had a hole. I had developed a hole in my water tank. So when it got under pressure, it was leaking, which was flooding my front cabin and causing us a big problem. Well, of course, you can't get a hole on the bottom where it just drains out. No, we have to get a hole on the top of the tank. That's where the inlet comes in, which is against the subfloor. So we had to take all the underneath out from underneath that, pull the insulation, cut the corrugated back, take it down, cut the cloth back, pull all the insulation out, which was soaking wet, let it dry. Then we had to drop the tank. And one of the problems that we found with the particular model that we had, what plumbing strap is? It's a metal strap. It's about 1 inch wide that has a bunch of different holes in it, and they use it to hold plumbing pipes up. Have you seen that, Brian?
Yeah, I sure have.
Okay. Well, when they built our travel trailer, what they did is when they strapped that tank in, instead of putting a metal support under that strap, they just used that strap, and this tank is like close to, I think it's 42 inches wide, and it's about 6 feet long. And so what was happening is because they put that strap up against that plastic tank and didn't put a piece of metal or something in it to break the difference between the metal strap itself and the plastic, as it got water in it, it was wearing, and it wore a hole in there. So when we took the tank down and repaired it, and we were able to repair it, we dropped the tank, and we were able to repair the hole because it was just small. It actually had 3 holes in it. Then once we did that and repaired it properly, then we re-insulated the whole tank and wrapped it so that it wouldn't freeze anymore. And then we took metal channel and put that on the bottom of the tank, and then we strapped it 4 times instead of twice. And we fixed that problem. But those are the kinds of things that you just don't know you're going to have to do. I didn't have any idea. And, quite honestly, because we lived in it and we still live in it, the amount of usage that it got, it's not built to be lived in for long periods of time. Does that make sense? So those are the problems that we have experienced. The black tank, on the other hand, I got a black tank for the first travel trailer I had, which was a Dutchman. And it was a great older camper, but it was really heavy. It weighed 16,000 pounds. And so we lived in it while we were building our last house that we had, because they were stealing me blind, robbing the copper pulling the wire out of the walls and taking them out of my heat and air unit and everything else. It's just terrible. So I ended up having to put the travel trailer up there on the lot to keep the thieves, and that, something about that, from stealing me blind every day. And so we put that up there, but that black tank had not been emptied properly. And so I ended up having to put a chemical in there that would soften or dissolve what was in there that needed to come out. And it can be done. I just used that product. It's called Unique Clean It. And it's a biodegradable, all natural chemical that you don't have to worry about. But I just put that in my tank this past week, and I flush my tanks regularly, and I wash them and do all that kind of stuff. The other thing about an old RV, and I've got to take a time out right here, but when we come back, can you hold on? Because when I come back, I want to tell you one of the things that you're not going to find in the older model, most likely, that I think is really important. But there's an alternative for it. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Can you hang on for me, brother?
Of course.
All right. When we come back, we're going to finish talking with Brian about things to look for in that travel trailer or in that RV that can be potential problems down the road. You're listening to Rick's House, live in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. Man, it's a beautiful day. God loves you. Remember that. We'll be right back. Now listen, if you've not been to Baker Boys, have y'all tried Baker Boys pizza yet? Oh my good gracious. Let me tell you something. It's on Cherry Street. If you get off on Cherry Street and turn toward Magnolia, and you'll see Baker Boys down there on the right. He's got a 30-inch pie, like not even got in my van and got the door closed. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, a slice of pizza feed 10 kids. Baker Boys Pizza is the place. I'm telling y'all, go by and see them and tell them that we sent you, and they're going to take care of you. They're going to be proud to see you, and they're going to be glad to feed you and your family. Great place for after church on Sundays. Go by and see the team at Baker Boys Pizza and tell them that Rick's House sent you.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knox Trail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxtrailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM, Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Don't let do-it-yourself become do-it-to-yourself. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios of Praise 96.3. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Our call-in number, 865-577-4885, or you can text me on the Rick's House text line at 865-255-3911. Going back to Brian on the telephones as we're talking about buying that used RV and looking for what you have to do. And thanks for holding on, Brian. My son Skylar joined us in the chat room this morning, and we got him home from Fort Drum in upstate New York. His buddies went up and helped him get back down because his beautiful wife Kira is due with little Leo any day. So we're excited about that. So it's good to see him in the chat room this morning. We're glad to have him home. And thank you, son, for your service. He is finishing up his 6 years in the Army as a crew chief on a Black Hawk helicopter, and that's really cool. I think it's cool. So we got that going on. So one of the other things, Brian, that we're talking about that I wanted to share with you is one of the things that's happening. I don't know what year that this changed, is that we have a system inside of our black tank that you hook an external hose to, a garden hose, and it basically washes the inside of the tank, much like a dishwasher does. Now, if you buy an older RV, it's not going to have that, most likely. Some of them did, but it was an option. All of them come with it now. It's one of those kinds of things. But that don't mean that you have to have that, because you can buy a hose adapter that goes on the end of the hose. It's about 4 foot long, and it sprays out in a pattern and under pressure. And you can access the black tank through opening the toilet up and holding the flat back and washing the inside of that tank. That does a couple things. You got to get that residue off of your sensors that tell you if your tank's full or not. I mean, that's just one of the things you're trying to do. But the most important thing that you're trying to do is to prevent buildup. And that's the name of the game. You're trying to keep the inside of that tank as clean as you can. And it's really, really important that you utilize a good treatment. And the other thing that's really important is when you dump your tank, then you flush your tank, then you put water back in your black tank. Because if it has water in the bottom of it to start with, that's going to help from creating those solids, creating sticking and creating pyramids and things like that cause you all kinds of trouble. And believe me, if you get one of those things, if you get one of those things and you have a problem with it, it's frustrating. I mean, it's just frustrating as it can be to do that. So just being aware of that. And I would want to know, my question to this guy was, when you're camping, do you leave your black valve closed and your gray valve open? I want to know if this person is doing it correctly. That's going to tell me a lot about that tank and how it dumps and if it's been cleaned or not. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense, Rick. And when I reached out to this nice gentleman, and once again, this was a Facebook posting, and he seemed to be very legitimate. But when I started asking him questions that you directed me to ask, he had no answers for. And his quote was, "I will have to get the RV out of storage and look at this going forward."
Well, that tells me that he doesn't, not that he's trying to be deceitful or anything like that. He's not. But the truth is unless you've lived on the road and have been an RVing person or lived in a travel trailer for a period of time, these are things you just don't know. Nobody tells you. You know what I'm saying? Now, X and them at the dealership's going to tell you. If you ask, they're going to tell you. And quite frankly, I learned it the hard way because I didn't know. I had an idea because of my construction background, but honestly, I'm a much better maintenance aware person in my travel trailer now than I was when we first started with the first ones we had. And it was just through, quite frankly, ignorance that I didn't know. It's not
trial and error.
But I promise you, you get a problem with your black tank. I was in Florida and we had a black tank that ruptured and dumped all that out on the campground. And it was 103. That is a bad day.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to let you know too, being in the security field, we have people with these type of RVs that will pull in to a commercial area of Best Buy or Costco, etc. And then all of a sudden at 3:00 in the morning, boom, we've got a septic tank explosion. Basically,
that's terrible.
And now the fire department has to show up because that's a biohazard,
right?
And now that they're looking at Walmart, not the person that is sleeping there, to resolve this problem and pay for the parking lot being shut down and them pressure washing the parking lot out. So that being said, I think your expert advice, when I was talking to this gentleman and I threw him that curveball about the septic tank and black water, he looked at me like, I guess I better check that, I guess.
Right. Well, I'm glad that I was able to help. And like I said, you're coming at it the same way I would come at it. It's not that he's trying to be deceitful with you. It's just you're finding out at what level he's maintained his RV based on what he knows. And I find that through my own ignorance as well, that I didn't know, I know now. And, that we're going to make sure those things don't happen. But unfortunately, what you were saying, from being in the security field for all these years and what you have to deal with, that thing that you just said about what people do in commercial lots is the reason that those of us who are going to do right don't get to stay in Walmart parking lots in a lot of places anymore when they're boondocking, because Walmart don't want to deal with that. And I can't blame them. You know what I'm saying? It's the reason that we don't. It's the reason there's the few that hurts it for everybody else. I've seen people and heard about, like I was telling the story about Fred. When it's a $10,000 fine for a entertaining bus, like for entertainers, a Prevost. If they get caught with their dump cap off, it's a $10,000 fine. And I'm talking about it's just off and it's like the drop or two. That's $10,000 fine if you get caught with that. If the state trooper pulls you over and that dump cap is loose and it's not completely fastened, it's $10,000 fine. Well, I don't know about you, but $10,000 fine ain't working for me because I ain't got it.
No, and I totally understand. And the big problem that we're having here, Rick, in the Northwest, is that we're getting people that are showing up on motorhomes, large ones, in city parks, shopping centers, and basically the bottom line is that we don't have a driver's license, we don't have insurance, and the police are saying, okay, so if I get you out on the roadway, you've got no insurance, and we're going to pull you over, and the local tow company isn't going to take your motorhome because their motorhome or their compound is overpacked with motorhomes that are transients. And so now the police are looking the other way and saying, okay, I know you don't have a driver's license, I know you don't have insurance, but I'm not going to pull you over. So if you can get out of the city park and I can look the other way, I will do so. But don't let me see your vehicle on the roadway. And they're saying, my vehicle will be on the roadway. What are you going to do next? And the police are going, I guess, nothing.
Well, I think it's interesting that. I'm sorry, I had to get a drink of coffee. I think it's interesting that it's Vance thought that was funny, didn't he? That wasn't actually what I was doing, but anyway, but I did have to get a drink of coffee. We had a situation this past week with one of our friends that he was in a parking lot and he got hit. His vehicle got hit while he was in that parking lot by someone who didn't have a license, didn't have insurance, was illegal, and all those kinds of things. And when they called the police, that's what the police said. Look, it's a private property. There's nothing we can do. And which I understand that, that they have to follow the rules that they have, but they also can't, go down and sit on the corner till that car leaves, because even though they know that they don't have a license or they don't have what they're supposed to have, they can't pull them over unless they're doing something wrong, even though they know it. And so it's a problem. It's never been a problem here, but it's beginning to become, that's the first instance I've heard that. But I know for you guys out in the Northwest, it's a huge issue because of the amount of transient folks that you have. It's just multiplied 100-fold, it seems to me, based on, you and my conversations. I got hit in the parking lot one time when I was a young man, same thing. No insurance, kid didn't have a driver's license, was underage, and I ended up having to file it against my insurance company, uninsured motorist, and then my insurance went up. And you know what I'm saying? It's an issue.
It really is an issue, Rick. When you're pulling into a city park that's got signs posted everywhere that the park closes at dusk, and you need to get your vehicle out of there, or you're going to be locked in, or the police are going to be called. I mean, there are signs everywhere. And when you turn around and say, "Hey, buddy, I got to lock the park up," well, I got a dead battery. I can't start my motorhome. And then you say, "Okay," and you contact the police and say, "Look, I'm trying to secure the park up. There's a subject on a motorhome. He's stating A, B, C, D, E, F, and G." And they show up and they say, "Brian, I'm really sorry, man. If we let this guy drive off, he's got no insurance and no driver's license in this motorhome. That being said, when we pull him over, because he knows that he's got a driver's license, etc., the tow company that is on the tow route is going to say, we're not going to tow that motorhome because our motorhome, our compound is overfilled with motorhomes and we can't do anything." So the police turn around and let this person go. And the next thing you know, what if this person gets in an accident right afterwards and it's his fault? And the police department knew that this was a problem and shouldn't have let him go. So the city is going to be on the hook for these issues.
Well, they can just send the bill to the government.
Well, yeah, it's not, the government here is going to look back and say, nope, that's the city, and the city needs to deal with this going forward. It is so bad, Lance, that you have motorhomes in the Best Buy parking lots, the Home Depot parking lots. Their motorhome is leaking what's the word I'm looking for? Human feces all over the place. And the fire department has to show up, which is once again your tax dollars, and they have to spray out the parking lot so people can pull in the morning and not be infected by human feces. But those people that are doing that have no insurance, no license, and the police aren't doing anything about it.
Well,
it's very frustrating.
It sounds like a horrible issue that needs to be addressed, and unfortunately, I think we were getting to see it here in our part of the world too. And so something's going to have to be done about that. And I certainly don't have the answers for that, but it's an issue, and it's as we. I don't know what the answer is for it. Hopefully our elected officials will begin to address some of those things. And I have a heart for homeless people. I have a heart for people who are struggling. I have a heart for those folks, but there's got to be some way to help them. But that just allowing it to go on is not the way. It's that doesn't help anybody, and it's just not the way to do it. But I've enjoyed our conversation, my brother. I've got to take a time out, and I hope those answers were helpful to you.
Well, thank you so much. And I just want to ask Vance a really quick question,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Vance, my brother, are you a Nickelback?
Nickelbacker? No.
Yeah.
No.
Rick, you better check into Vance. Nickelback is one heck of a band, and
I'll
you
have a little
better
talk with him.
Yeah, I would have a little talk with Vance in regards to Nickelback.
I hope you have a good day,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, thanks, Rick.
All
Happy
right.
Guys Day. Thank you, sir. And Vance, you do an excellent job. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you, brother.
All right.
Take care, buddy. I'll
Thank
see you on Facebook.
You got it, man. Always good to hear from Brian. He always has an interesting point of view, and it's I enjoy it when he calls, because having traveled all across the country, there are sets of issues that we have to be aware of that shapes the way people think and what's happening. And it's interesting, as we have traveled. We'll talk about this when we come back from the timeout. about the different problems that we saw as we lived in different places, and things that we don't deal with here that they deal with in other parts of the great United States. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as we continue our conversation about travel and home improvement and all things Rick's House. We appreciate that. Live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios at Your Praise 96.3. Listen, mark your calendar, September 7th. I'm going to tell you about it as soon as we come back. We're going to be live. Hang on, y'all.
Hello, this is Pete with Sanders Plumbing Company. We've been your local trusted plumber since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing, quality service for quality people. Call 922-9175.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM, Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
Don't let do-it-yourself become do-it-to-yourself. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios, Praise 96.3, your Praise FM 96.3. And I want to tell you, coming up Saturday, September the 7th, Weekend RV Center's having a super special event. They're having their annual end of summer, getting ready for fall sales event. Goodbye summer, hello fall, blowout sale. You can save thousands, up to 50% off the MSRP, cash and gift card giveaways every hour, free coffee and donuts 8 to 10, food trucks 10 to 1, and a Jeep classic car cruise in all day. Prizes for classic cars, Jeeps, muscle cars, trucks, motorcycles, furthest away, longest distance, oldest one, all that kind of stuff, and their personal favorite. I'm going to be there live doing the show that morning. Pete Sanders will be there from Sanders Plumbing, have a Sanders Plumbing truck there. So you can get your plumbing questions answered, and whether it's on an RV or whether it's on a residential house, whatever it is, and he'll be there to help you with those things. And we're going to have lots of giveaways, and I think Miss Vicky's going to have some plants, and she grows organic spices for basil and those kinds of things, and some fall flowers as well. It's just going to be an all-around good time. We're going to have the gang there, and so we're excited about that. I'm going to have some things to give away from Baker Boy Pizza and from Rick's House and from Costa Oil Express over on Chapman Highway. So mark your calendar, September 7th, 8 to 3, 1458 Clinton Highway, Clinton, Tennessee. You got to come. It's going to be a great time. We're going to just have a good time and bring the kids and find that new RV, find that new or used travel trailer and get your questions answered. Maybe you're looking, maybe you're thinking about, purchasing one. Meet the team, Xavier and Tyler and Kenny and Josh and Cassidy and Mike and the whole gang there. And they'll be so happy to help you, and they'll have some special sales going on. Plus, if you need stuff, maybe you need a new black tank hose, maybe you need a new, you're thinking about camping this winter and you need an electric hose. That's something that if you go to a campground that stays open in the wintertime, campgrounds are now requiring that you use a electric hose, and that's a hose that's skirted and has electrical tape on it that keeps it warm. And so they won't let you do that. And if you show up at a campground and you don't have one, guess what you get to do? If you're going to stay there, you get to buy one from them.
Wow. Yeah, and that's not going to be cheap.
That's not going to be cheap because they have to buy it and store it. But that's something that they're doing because they don't want their pipes to freeze because you've hooked a regular garden hose up to it, and you don't have an electric hose that keeps it from freezing. And honestly, you ought to have one anyway because it makes life so much easier. I like to get up when it's 20 degrees outside and have water in my trailer.
Yeah,
what I'm
nice.
saying? That makes it for something good. But I want to take just a second and talk about what we were talking about before we went to the timeout. And I guess with the election going on, and I don't get into politics. That's not my thing. I don't talk politics, and that's one of the things we've never done on the program, and we're not going to do it. We'll have folks on from time to time, but and we give equal opportunity to whoever wants to be. That's what you have to do in the radio business, and that's fine. Everybody's got their own opinion, but I will say this: as I'm traveling, I cannot believe the amount of traffic that we have in the 3 years that we were gone from Knoxville. I can't believe what the traffic is like now that we've been back 2 years. I mean, it is mind-boggling, the traffic that we have here.
It's crazy.
You can't go anywhere in a hurry.
No.
And the amount of out-of-state license plates and folks that are moving here from different parts of the world and all that kind of stuff, folks, the secret's out. East Tennessee's God's country, and everybody's finding out about it. And then that's fine. But what I'm saying is as we were traveling, my preconceptions about particular states got changed once I went and lived in that state for a little bit. You say, Rick, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, for instance, when I was raised here, I thought, man, what's wrong with them out there in California? You know what I'm saying? That's the perception that you have. But once you go out there and you live there and you see some of the things that they have to deal with, it makes some of the things that they do. I understand why they do them. Now, I'm not. Go ahead, Vance. You're chomping at the bits.
No. I'm not going to say it.
You're chomping at the bits.
Not going to do it.
Now, that doesn't mean that I want to change what we do.
No.
But what it does mean is, for instance, and I've said this on the show before, and I'll give you a prime example. And this has nothing to do with politics. But when you look for instance, when you look at California, they have a whole set of issues that they have to deal with the byproducts that China puts off that come across the ocean that they have to deal with in their environment, because China doesn't care.
No,
they don't have the standards that we have. And so they have, if you look at the smog and all those things that they deal with, they actually have it on the news showing what the conditions are outside, and all that stuff's coming across the ocean, and it doesn't have anything to do with America. It has to do with the other countries that don't have the regulations that we have, and quite frankly, in my opinion, don't care. And so, I was able to go out there, and then once I realized that when you get in those parts of the world and you get outside of the big cities, they just farmers and ranchers and normal folks. So it was interesting to me. It changed my whole perspective about seeing, each state and what they have to deal with, and they all have their set of problems. When you talk about homeless people, and I have a heart for homeless people, I do. I really do. Especially those that are struggling with mental illness or the things that they struggle with and all those kinds of things. But we don't have any kind of problem like they have out west. I mean, it is unbelievable. I mean, whole streets of tent cities and people living on the sidewalks. I mean, it's terrible. It's just terrible. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that. That's one of the things that kind of broadened my horizon, so to speak, as we were fortunate enough to be able to travel and to see how things are in different parts of the world and how they deal with those things. So funny, when we were working at the hot springs in Oregon, we had a lot of people that would come down from Portland. And Portland is wild and woolly, let's just say that. And so I would ask people when they would come in to, when I come in to register so we could put them in a camping slot or whatever. And I'd say, well, hey, where are y'all from? And they'd say, we're from Portland, but we've lived there 30 years. And we're trying to get out, and they would always preface it with, well, but we've been there 30 years, And so I found that to be interesting because they know too, that, it's different. So that we say, but so it's interesting. Then I'll never forget, I was sitting in the a couple different times. I was sitting in the store, because I ran the store. Amy did the cleaning of the cabins and the pools and stuff and all that kind of stuff. And these kids came in, and I say kids, they were young folks at college age, and they came in and they said, where are you from? And I said, Knoxville, Tennessee. I said, where are you from? They said, Asheville, North Carolina. I said, well, do you know so-and-so? And they're like, that's my brother. So I'm in Oregon in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And so I picked up the phone and called my cousin and I said, do you know these people? And she said, yeah, that's my stepson. I had no idea. They had no idea I was there. They were there. So it's a small world. So, you see those things, but it was part of the experience that we had. And speaking of that, I do want to say again that if you can go to my page and find my wife's page for Facebook, The Diary of a Grieving Mama, I think that if you've lost children or you've lost loved ones, I hope you'll find that as a safe place that you can become part of the group that you're already in, that you don't want to be in, but you are. And hope you can find some peace there, or maybe give some advice or help somebody along the way, because that's what it's all about, folks, is helping other folks to get through or deal with. And I say get through, there is no getting through that. It's a constant battle. We deal with it. Yesterday was our son's birthday, our youngest son who passed. He would have been 23, and we dealt with that yesterday. So, this is a place that those of you who carry that burden, we hope that you can find some solace in what's being said there, and in the others that are mourning and grieving, because everybody grieves differently, and it's a process, and it's an ongoing process, and it's always there. But there's hope. Through Christ we have hope, and I think that's super important. So we want to make sure and share that with you as well. Now, Cozy Mountain Cabins, if you ain't been to see them, you need to call Anita. If you're looking for a cabin that sleeps 20 or one that sleeps 2, she's got it. Cozy Mountain Cabins, CozyMountainCabins.com, Cozy with the Z, or you can call her directly at 865-660-0340. And please, when you visit our sponsors like Baker Boy Pizza or Top Septic or Sanders Plumbing Company or Knox Rail Salvage or, any of our Cozy Mountain Cabins, Old City Kitchens, Weekend RV Center, when you visit these folks, please let them know that you heard about them on our show on Rick's House, because that helps us all. And we're going to do the hard work. We're looking for those companies that do business the way that we want to do business and the way that business is done right. And I hope that we will share those with you, and I hope you'll support them. We look forward to that, and it's part of what we do every day. Ain't that right, Vance?
That's right. It is indeed.
And Vance says if you're looking for pizza or chicken wings, you can go to Baker Boy.
Wings.
Mm-hmm. It's time for what? We got time out? We got to do? Or?
Yes, sir, we do.
We do. Well, let's take time to let those folks who keep me on the air you hear from them and find somebody that'll take care of you and treat your home like it was theirs. You're listening to Rick's House in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios, Praise 96.3. Hang on.
Hello, this is Pete with Sanders Plumbing Company. We've been your local trusted plumber since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing, quality service for quality people. Call 922-9175.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knox Trail Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxtrailSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Want the good, the bad, and the ugly of home improvement? You found it. This is Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios, Praise 96.3 FM. Our call-in number, 865-577-4885, 865-577-4885. You've got a question about home improvement or just want to talk about a project you're doing, we'd love to help you with that. Also, you can text us on the Rick's House text line at 865-255-3911. My wife says in our stream on Facebook, and this is true, you know, so many of our homeless folks are veterans. So many of them have served, and so many of them are dealing with issues that we have to make sure that we're helping them. You know, from mental illness to PTSD to whatever it may be that they're doing. And so, you know, think about that. I would encourage you to think about that when you see that person that is struggling. And you know, I just kind of use the philosophy, God lays it on my heart to do something for them, I do. You know, I don't know. They say, well, you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do. I just do what I think I should do. And then I know I've done what I'm supposed to, or try to. But like I said, those veterans, you know, as I watched my son and our son go through he's finishing up 6 years in the United States Army. And in his last bit of service, he is dealing with young soldiers that are struggling or are doing, trying to negotiate life in the military or out of the military and those kinds of things. It's interesting to me that, the problems that so many of our veterans have when they come back from service. So, when you see that old gentleman or older lady that's got a hat or a pen or that says, where they did and what they served, I always take a minute and try to thank them. I didn't have the pleasure of serving. I would have signed up for selective service when I was 17 and a half years old. And, but it just wasn't the path for me. But so, say thank you to a veteran today. We talked a little bit about, changing oil in your vehicle and Costa Oil out on Chapman Highway, across from Taco Bell and the Walmart and all that stuff. And it is a family-owned business. Walmart. The old Walmart. That's correct. That's right. Thank you, Vance. I have went to synthetic oil. I am not a car guy, but I like synthetic oil. And, I was reading about it to educate myself, and virtually all full synthetic oil comes from high quality crude based oil, enhanced refining methods, and chemically enhanced friction modification with exceptional engine protection not found in conventional or synthetic blended oils. There is no standard for synthetic oil, making full synthetic a marketing term. This also means no two brands are exactly the same, and I didn't realize that.
No, I didn't either.
Automotive manufacturers choose synthetic oil for its low viscosity. Low viscosity oil permits an engine to spin easier, run cooler, and dissociate contaminated and oxidized conventional oils. This increases gas mileage, lowers engine tailpipe emission, and keeps your engine cleaner. Full synthetic oils are not recommended for pre-1990 vehicles. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Or those that specifically require conventional motor oils. Conversely, those qualities that make full synthetic so beneficial can worsen already failing oils, seals, and gaskets if neglected engines. Using full synthetic in the engine rarely causes problems. The difference between synthetic oil and conventional oil, both synthetic and conventional oil starts out as crude oil. However, not all crude oil is the same. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, crude oil is classified by density and sulfur content. Higher quality crude goes through the process to produce synthetic, adding state-of-the-art artificial additives, antioxidants, corrosion and foam inhibitors, anti-wear agents, and dispersants. Produces oil that offers far superior engine protection over conventional motor oil. Although more affordable than synthetics, conventional oil breaks down faster under extreme loads. And that's the reason when we were pulling our travel trailer, we went to full synthetic, because of that motor is having to work harder.
A lot harder. And it's kind of like when I went to work for my father-in-law in his lumber yard, where he did lots of hardwood lumbers. And so we built lots of custom things. We made grade stakes for the utilities people. We made certain size white oak, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches by certain lengths. We made red oak motor blocks. We made the nose caps that went in the end that was made out of oak. All the stuff that's structural under the fiberglass of Sea Ray boats, we made those things in his shop. And I relate it to this, and he always said this, and I learned more from him than any person I ever knew except for my grandfather. But you've got a saw in there, and he had 3-phase power in his shop. So we had these big saws and planers and things that would run, a board 2 foot wide and 12 inches thick. And so that board is running, or you're constantly running these grade stakes through and cutting them to a certain size, or making a mantle, or doing whatever. And when we were doing those production items, he kept a can of car wax on a shelf beside the saws. And the purpose for that was, and he would always say, and it's something that we had to, as I came up in the company and took more responsibility, he would tell me and the other guys, listen, before you start running that 1,200 feet of oak that you're ripping to 3/4 by 3/4, put a little wax on the table of the saw you're running it through. Makes sense. because it makes it run easier.
Yeah.
And then he would also say, don't force the saw. Let the saw work the way the saw works. It's the same thing with just like, so
Did
if
you
you're,
use synthetic wax?
I'm not going to answer that because I don't know the
Okay.
answer. I assume it is. But he would also say, and this is true when you're working on any project, you know, let the motor keep its RPMs up and let it run. Don't force feed it. It's the same with your heat and air. When you're running your heat and air and you've got a filter in there that unit is not designed for, and that filter's not been changed and it's clogged, and that unit is not running efficiently, which means that it's going to wear out quicker. It's harder on the unit. It's going to use more energy. The same principle holds true with synthetic oils that you're putting in your car. If the motor can run smoother, easier, cooler, then it's designed to run, but it's going to run at top proficiency. And that is something that we think about. Now, the question is, how long does synthetic oil last? And that depends. Various factors affect how long before any oil breaks down, whether inside your engine or in a bottle on a shelf. And I didn't think about shelf life.
No, I wouldn't have.
You think about food shelf life. You think about how long is that can of soup good for, you know, or whatever. Or
10 years.
Yeah, well, exactly. Whether inside your engine or on the bottle on the shelf, over time, oil degrades and parts from wear and tear. Once in the engine, motor oil should be changed at least once a year, regardless of the mileage. The last thing you do is you turn off the bathroom. The last thing you do is turn on the light in the bathroom late at night. What in the good gracious? I lost my train of thought there for a second. I apologize. The point is this. Everything has a shelf life, whether it's sitting or whether it's working. And so we have to be aware of that. And you know, who thinks about that? I would never thought about it. I thought oil's oil. What's it going to do? It's sealed up in a container.
Right.
Is it going to break? It breaks down. Everything does. And the same thing holds true.
I certainly did.
When yeah, I have too, brother. The thing being is just like with, you know, when you talk about preppers, people who believe that they want to be ahead of the game and they're prepping and they're storing food and they're doing that. But one of the things that you learn if you're a prepper, as I've studied that, which I'm not a prepper, but I find it interesting.
It is
what they do and how they do it. And there's comfort in knowing that you've got 3 months supply or 4 months supply or 6 months supply of, you know, when everything goes bad or there's a problem or whatever that may be. And there's all kinds of conspiracy theories and things out there that I'm not going to get into because it's not my way of thinking. But even in prepping, one of the things that they teach you is to rotate your shelf stock. You know,
yeah.
Work from, you know,
Newer stuff
in the back, older stuff in the front, and rotate that so that you have a fresh supply all the time.
Every 25 years.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's been 20. I don't feel like 25 years. I feel like 125 years. But
amen.
You know,
you look like 120.
Well, thank you. I know it's hard to be this good looking, Vance.
It's got to be a struggle.
Oh, it's getting deep in here. All the talk that's going on. Now, when you was a kid growing up, Vance, and this is something that we had tons of these, and I don't see them much anymore. But do you know what a hedge apple is?
No.
A hedge apple is that big green fruit that's bumpy all over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And when I was a kid, I'd look at them things and go, what is that? You know? And hedge apples, I don't think they're good for anything.
No.
But I did find out this, supposedly, and this is something that I learned in my show prep this past week. Supposedly, there's an easy way to repel spiders in areas of the home where you don't want them, and it's hedge apples.
Huh. I'd be putting one in every room then.
The natural chemicals in the fruit of the Osage orange tree are believed to deter spiders and other pests. To test out hedge apples as a spider repellent, be sure to place them where pets and family members can't get at them.
Uh-huh.
Start with unfinished basements and attics, or in your backyard shed. Now, Ohio State University suggests that hedge apples are much better at keeping out German cockroaches, mosquitoes, and spiders.
Well,
So says the University of Iowa State University. According to the study, sliced hedge apples placed enclosed in small spaces did repel insects. However, there's still no evidence around the house or basement that it has any effect. The jury's still out on it of the effectiveness of a hedge apple, but I guess that's the only thing it's good for, because I don't even think that I think they're poisonous. I'm not sure that they're I know they're not good for you. Of course, this past year, spiders have been something, it seems like every year there's a different bug or insect or something that comes along that will find its way through the cracks in your walls or foundation or tears in your screens and all that kind of stuff. I am not a spider fan.
no, spider make me hurt myself.
Yeah, I'm telling you, kind of like that you see on social media where they've got that fake snake on a string and they put a clothespin and they clip it to the back and then tell them that it's behind them. That's me. I don't like spiders and snakes.
No.
Oh, there's a song
Well,
in that.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be probably country.
Did you know that there are people that put toilet paper in their refrigerator?
Yeah, keep it cool.
Well, I'm gonna let that slide. I'm just gonna let that go on past. Just let that go right on past. I'm gonna just let that go. And I saw this and I thought, why in the world would you put toilet paper in your? You need to put it in a safe, because there during COVID it was like gold.
Yeah,
people were storing up paper, toilet paper, and so, but the reason people do it is there are people that says, if you've ever noticed, and I don't know if your refrigerator does this, camper refrigerators and travel trailer refrigerators are notorious for this, building up ice or building up moisture.
Right.
I know our refrigerator in the back of it, you have to really watch the setting on it because it will build up moisture on the back wall. And so some people that travel actually will put a roll of toilet paper in their refrigerator because the dry paper absorbs the moisture.
right.
And keeps the humidity down. Once again, we're dealing with humidity. Now, I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't either. Well, I mean,
a soggy roll of toilet paper in my refrigerator. Well, yeah, absolutely. A soggy roll of toilet paper in my refrigerator. There's something about that's unappealing to me.
I know, right?
So, but there are people that say it works. So who knows? There are alternatives for odor busters, of course. Baking soda, of course, the first one that you use. My mom always had, and my grandparents, I always had an open box of Arm & Hammer baking soda in the fridge.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Then they pull out and brush their teeth with them. Like, do you know what you're doing? It's absorbing all those smells and all those kinds of things. And but yeah, there are people that do that. Now, the first time I've ever heard of it, activated charcoal. And there again, now we do use charcoal in our travel trailer, and it works really good. It's amazing how it works. And then of course we use Damp Rid, and you can buy that on Amazon and keep the containers and we didn't realize this, but instead of buying a new container full of it every time, you can buy the ingredients that go in there, the little beads that absorb the moisture, kind of like the silica gel packs that are in, but you can buy those in a bag. And so when it gets full, you dump that out and then you replace it with new beads, and it saves you a ton of money.
Oh, that's neat.
It's unbelievable how much moisture those that we have are sitting around our travel trailer, and we're constantly trying to condition the air. But in this time of year, when it's cold in the mornings and hot, in the afternoons, the amount of moisture that you get in a travel trailer, it's pretty ridiculous. There's so much of it that I can't believe. And like I said, I just set a bucket of charcoal because the bag had got wet, and we set it inside and didn't realize it. Next thing we know, we went to pick it up to go start the charcoal grill, and the thing's halfway full of water from the charcoal, pulling it out of the air. So, that's a natural something that you can use.
You could probably put charcoal in your fridge too.
Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm sure you can. I mean, that's part of it. I've seen people who use the UV light to
deal with smells and molds and other pathogens. I told you that we had pink mold on the side of the travel trailer because the gutter was stopped up.
Yeah, did you get that taken care of?
I did.
Good.
And the thing about it is that stuff is toxic. Pink
Yeah, it
mold is toxic.
It's nothing to mess with.
It's not. I mean, you got to use the proper prep, and that's something I want to talk to you about. Using safety glasses, using rubber gloves, using the proper PPE that you're supposed to use to make sure that you're safe. Those things are important, folks, because you can get sick.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these
Really sick.
some of these things are really important that you do. Now, I told y'all last week, that week before last, this past Saturday, we had to call the electricians to come out and replace our power on the back side of the trailer.
And that's scary.
That's scary. It had burnt, and I need to put a picture of that on Facebook. I saved it.
Yes, you do.
I need to put it, but the outlet, it was just a little loose. And one of the horses had come around off the farm and hit the cord, and I didn't realize it, and just loosened the cord just enough to cause it to get hot. And that's the danger with electricity, folks. That's why you don't need to fool with it. You need to get a licensed electrician to handle that.
Amen to that.
Because something as small as a screw not being tightened enough, or a plug not being put in properly, or getting a little loose, that creates that heat. And it literally burnt on the neutral side. It burnt that till it's almost completely gone, and then burnt the end of the cord, and it never kicked the breaker, not once.
Wow.
It finally, because I went and checked, I thought, what is going on? I called my neighbor and I said, is your power on? He said, yeah. I said, is it flickering? He said, no, because my light was flickering. And so it was in the middle of the night, and I could smell it. I started smelling that electrical thing. So fortunately, as I told you guys last week, I went over and just went outside, and it was in the middle of the night, and it was dark, and I had my flashlight with me, and I went out there and I just unplugged it, pulled it loose, kicked the breaker on the main power. And fortunately, because we have a solar panel on top of the travel trailer, and we have 2 deep cycle batteries, we were able to run the lights and the computer and
air conditioning
and all that kind of stuff. I had the air conditioning on a separate circuit, which is something, excuse me, I apologize, which is something that you have to be aware of. Did you know that there are homes, and this is something that when you come to see us on September 7th over at the Weekend RV Center, that you'll learn that when I bought my travel trailer, there were only 2 of those models available east of the Mississippi. And that's the model we wanted because of the space that it had in it. One was in Georgia, and the other one was in Kentucky. And so I called and told the guy and made him an offer for the one in Georgia. And then he called me back and said, well, I'm sorry, we're not going to have it ready because they've been robbing parts off of it for the other RVs. It's taking us 3 to 4 weeks to get parts in. And I said, that's not going to work for me. I've sold my house. I got to be out in a week, So Amy and I had to do that. But so I ended up going up and buying the one in Kentucky. Well, I didn't realize this until I was talking to a friend of mine from Maine, that the one I bought from Kentucky is a 30 amp. It has a 30 amp service on it and 1 air conditioner. The one that they had in Georgia, it was a 50 amp, same model, 50 amp, and had 2 air conditioners. Well, our travel trailer is 40 feet long, and it has 3 slides. It needs 2 air conditioners.
No doubt.
I promise you, especially when you're out west or down south is even worse. I remember when we left not Fort Payne, but we left Foley, Alabama in July to head out to Oregon to take the next job. When we got in the car and got everything hooked up, I looked up at the thermometer on the mirror on my truck, and it said 118.
Wow. That might be the best thing you ever did, leave Alabama.
Yeah. I liked Alabama, though.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I liked Alabama, especially down on the coast. But I don't like Alabama football.
No.
I'm a Go Big Orange and an Oregon State Beaver.
That's probably fixing to change, though, that whole Alabama thing.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit different. And my buddy who's my buddies down there that are big Alabama fans, they're mourning.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, they're mourning. Say, well, I get they stuff. And then, of course, they're still Alabama fans. They say, yeah, y'all going to beat us now. And I said, yeah, we beat you. We beat you before too. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I love my Alabama people out there. Don't send me ugly letters and stuff like that.
But I was telling you all that about the electric because I've been thinking a lot about power strips and surge protectors. A power strip is defined as a bank of multiple receptacles, aka outlets, that gives you flexibility to plug in more devices. Now, here's the problem: power strips come in a few variations, but the ones that are homeowner types are those long ones that have a big sturdy cord and so forth and so on. But listen, folks, just because it has 10 places to plug something in, you're plugging it depends on what you're plugging in.
Yeah,
that
sure does.
That surge protector has a limit. It has an amount that it can handle, or that power strip has. So a power strip brings electricity out from the wall to more convenient locations to plug in multiple things. That's all they do. Think of them like an exterior receptacle at the end. Surge protectors look like power strips, but they have added protection against power surges.
Yes.
Or voltage surges.
Protect your electronics.
Absolutely. It is, there's a huge difference in that. And the theory of, well, I got another place to plug something else in. Well, what are you plugging in, and how many amps is it pulling?
Right.
What's the voltage? You can get a power strip hot in a heartbeat, which heat and electricity mean fire.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
Now, this is a terrible tragedy. Well, we got to take time out. It's 45.
Oh, we do.
Got to take time out. When we come back, I heard a story yesterday on the news, and I'm sure y'all probably heard about it, and I didn't see what city it was in, but this is something to be aware of, especially those of you that are traveling and you use propane and propane accessories. You're listening to Rick's House live from Sanders Plumbing Studio. Don't go anywhere. I got some advice for you. It's going to help you. Thanks for joining us.
Now listen, if you've not been to Baker Boys, have y'all tried Baker Boys pizza yet? Oh my good gracious. Let me tell you something. It's on Cherry Street. If you get off on Cherry Street and turn toward Magnolia, and you'll see Baker Boys down there on the right. He's got a 30-inch pie, like not even got in my van and got the door closed. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, a slice of pizza feed 10 kids. Baker Boys Pizza is the place. I'm telling y'all, go by and see them and tell them that we sent you, and they're going to take care of you. They're going to be proud to see you, and they're going to be glad to feed you and your family. Great place for after church on Sundays. Go by and see the team at Baker Boys Pizza and tell them that Rick's House sent you. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM, Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
The way to start your Saturday projects every week. It's Rick's House. Home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning, team. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. There it is. Had to change my headphones up. Appreciate you all joining us. I've enjoyed the show today. I always enjoy being part of your Saturday mornings. Thank you so much for letting us be part of that. And for all of y'all listening to us on Facebook and YouTube and all the other places that we broadcast to, we appreciate that. And I want to tell you again, be sure and put down on your calendar September 7th. September 7th, we will be live at Weekend RV Center from 8 to 10. We'll have food trucks between 10 and 1.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be fun.
I've been curious what an Xavier looks like. So,
oh, he's a handsome fella. Xavier.
Oh, I can imagine.
You know he is.
The name like that.
Yeah, that's a man name. You know, Xavier is a man name. But anyway, Brother Xavier is going to be there, and they're going to be having that cruise in with the classic cars. Pete Sanders is going to be there, have his classic car there as well. And there's going to be lots of stuff to do. We got giveaways from Baker Boy Pizza, from Costa. I'll say that in a minute. I don't know why. Every time I say that, I want to go Costco. No, it's not Costco. It's Costa Oil.
Right.
We're going to have that and some other Rick's House stuff available for you. And they're going to be giving away gift cards, going to have cash money, going to have prizes. You don't have to have a camper to win. You don't have to buy one to win, but we want you to come get you one while you can get that 50%, up to 50% off of MSRP. And he's going to have everything on the lot marked down, have great deals on all the stuff in the camping store. And their store is not huge, but it has everything in it. You need a new toilet. They got it. You need a hose. You need a fitting. You know, you need a new electric water hose, you know, to get ready for this winter camping. They've got all that stuff. It's just phenomenal, everything they do. Now, before the timeout, I was telling you that, and I have seen this before, but it's not been really, really common. And I would encourage you, and it's something that I'm going to do today when I get home, is check if you're using propane, and you're using propane in your travel trailer or in your house. It's a good idea to mix you up a little soapy water and in a spray bottle and just ease around and check your connections on that propane. Spray just like you do when you're checking a tire. Spray a little soapy water on there and see if it's leaking. See if you get air bubbles. There was a house, and I don't remember what state this was in. I didn't catch that, but did you see this on the news, Vance?
Probably not.
I remembered one time years ago that a gas water heater got a leak, and when it ignited, the propane was leaking, and it ignited. It just takes a tiny spark. It ignited that water heater in that garage, and it launched that water heater through the roof of that garage. Looked like the space shuttle taking off.
My goodness.
Like a rocket going to Mars, tore the garage completely up and shot it over into the trailer park. And of course, you know what the news people did. They went and found the country sucker they could find. It said, I synced the whole thing. I was making me a Pop-Tart in there in the kitchen. Here it come. I thought some aliens is, you know what they do. You think the news people, you think they say, go out and find the countryest rascal you can find.
Yeah, no doubt.
And put him on there and let him tell his story.
I don't watch CNN though.
But we were talking about that. But this is a terrible tragedy, and don't not to make light of it.
No, that's horrible.
But there was a house, and I think it was in Texas, but I don't remember exactly. They showed this on the news last night on the national news. Evidently, it had a propane leak, and they said that the guy had been working on his propane, whether it was for his heating air unit or for his stove or whatever.
Doing the work himself.
And it ignited at 1 o'clock in the morning. Lance, it blowed that house into smithereens. I'm talking about it blowed debris like a mile. And the people next door and all around the neighborhood that it was in said the explosion was so loud that it blowed their doors open.
Wow.
Their locked doors on their house. Blowed them open,
goodness.
Busted windows, everything. And unfortunately, these people lost their life. They found them, the bodies and their dog. It killed them.
Man.
They wasn't nothing of that house left bigger than a bread box. I mean, and my wife looked at me last night and she said, that is pretty scary. I said,
Yeah.
that's really, really scary. So, you know, we don't talk about that maintenance and we don't think about things that we ought to do, but I'm telling you what's now. I'm going to be checking that propane, those propane accessories, as Hank Hill says.
Moral of the story: go with electric.
That'd
be my answer anyway.
Yeah, but those things are important. You know, you got to think about that. Something is, you know, do you know that natural gas and propane gas does not have a natural smell to it? You know that, right?
Right.
They put a smell in it so that you can detect it when there's a leak.
Why couldn't they put the smell of strawberries in it?
You know, that's a great point. Because it stinks awful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible smell. But yeah, that's a good idea. Vance, you got good thoughts.
I'm telling you, man. I'm full
Instead
of
of rotten eggs, it should smell like strawberries.
I'm full of it. Well,
But like I said, that's, you know,
ideas.
you know, that's a terrible, terrible tragedy. But that just goes how to show you how something that small of an issue, and it happened during the night. They didn't hear it. They still don't know till they got to heaven. They don't know what happened.
Wow.
You know, and it was, I mean, I'm telling you, it looked like a nuclear bomb had went off. So, you know, we got to be careful. And that's why we say, don't let do it yourself become do it to yourself. On
No
Rick's
doubt.
House.
To the extreme.
Because that's why don't mess with things that you know, get a professional. Don't mess with things that you aren't to mess with. Saving a little money could cost you your life. And that's something that we want to say, don't let do it yourself become do it to yourself, because sometimes that do it to yourself can be really, 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 really bad, as we were talking about on that.
Talk to that microphone, please.
I wish y'all could have seen that. Lance was telling me to talk to the microphone. I put it in the stand and it just flopped over.
Okay.
Kind of like, yes,
I have
sir.
a gripe right now.
Lay it on me.
From now on, I'm going to start keeping count how many times you and Brian call me Lance.
Did I call you Lance?
Yeah. Twice now.
Sorry, Vance.
And so
Lance Vance.
For every time I get called Lance, I get $1 from both of you. Brian will have to mail me one, but you know.
He's loaded. He'll just send you 100 and get it out of the way. So we got that going on. But had a good show today. Enjoyed y'all. Thank you to everybody that comes in on the chat line and talks to us through Facebook. And Brian, appreciate you calling in. You always have good things to talk about, and I hope it's been helpful. Be sure and visit our sponsors and go by and check my wife's page, The Diary of a Grieving Mama. And she spells it M-A-M-A, Mama. But check that out. And for those of you all that's lost folks and lost children, especially like we have, it's a place that you can find hopefully some comfort and talk to other folks that are struggling too. So that's part of it. Be sure and stay tuned. William the Encourager's coming up, and I always enjoy listening to William. And
yeah, boy, good show.
It is a good show. He does a good
Maybe
job.
I should say program.
Yeah.
Not a show.
Yeah, that's like we don't say break. We don't break for nothing around here. We take a short time out.
Yeah, we pause.
We don't pause either. We just take a short time out and to you know, tell you the things we need to tell you, and then we get on down the line. But whatever, that's for sure. But yeah, grab them babies and hug them. Tell your family you love them. Thank a veteran today. Help somebody out. I promise you, you'll feel better. Do what God has you to do, and you'll be glad that you did. So we appreciate that. Be sure and put that on the calendar. September 7th. Come by and see us at Weekend RV Center. We'll be live and we'll be having a good time. You'll look for the Sanders Plumbing truck and look for me there. And I'd like to meet you face to face and shake your hand and thank you for what you do. William, is it William? What'd I get if I call you William?
$10.
$10. All right. Is it time to let it happen? I believe it is.
It's getting close.
All righty. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate you. God bless you. And we'll see you next Saturday right here from Sanders Plumbing Company Studios.